Welcome back to World Rare Coin. Today we step into a world where tiny silver treasures hide stories of power chance and unimaginable fortune. A world where six rare old USA Roosevelt one-dime coins rise above all others, each one carrying a legacy shaped by time accidents, mint secrets, and the unpredictable paths of history. These small pieces of metal once used for simple everyday moments now hold values reaching into the millions of dollars, transforming ordinary change into extraordinary legends. Imagine holding a coin so rare that collectors chase it across auctions, museums, and private vaults. Imagine a dime so unique that even the slightest detail, the faintest mark, or the rarest strike can change its destiny forever. These six treasures are not just coins. They are silent witnesses of an era filled with innovation, sacrifice, and national pride. Every curve, every shine, every imperfection whispers a story waiting to be uncovered. So get ready as we dive deeper into a journey that reveals how tiny coins became mighty artifacts treasured around the world. Stay with us because what you're about to discover will change the way you look at the smallest coin in American history. This is World Rare Coin, Coin No. 1, the 1966 Roosevelt dime, a coin so ordinary in appearance, yet so extraordinary in its story. This dime, born during a turbulent era of American history, carries more than just its date. It carries the echoes of a nation shifting from silver to clad composition, a time when the United States Mint was rewriting its own legacy. In 1966, the Roosevelt dime was struck without a mint mark. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a coin made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. Its diameter 17.91 millimeters, its thickness 1.35 millimeters, and its weight just 2.2268 grams, small, light, and unassuming. But within these exact specifications, something miraculous happened. Something that turned one of these coins into a multi-million-dollar legend. Yes, my friends, this 1966 Roosevelt dime, under the right conditions, has been valued by collectors and experts at an unbelievable $5 million. Imagine for a moment, holding a simple dime in your hand, the same kind you'd toss in a vending machine. Yet the faintest difference, a tiny variation invisible to the naked eye, could make that coin worth more than a mansion. That's the story of this 1966 dime. It's not about luck. It's about minting precision, errors, and survival through time. You see, during the mid-1960s, America was in a coin shortage crisis. Silver prices had skyrocketed, and the mint was rushing to produce coins faster than ever. Millions of dimes were struck, but not all were perfect. Some had plancher anomalies, some were struck on leftover silver blanks, and some bore micro-details that escaped the mint's final inspection. One of these rare 1966 Roosevelt dimes surfaced decades later, under the lens of professional numismatists at PCG's, the Professional Coin Grading Service, a company trusted worldwide for authenticating and grading coins. PCG's confirmed that this dime was unlike any other. Its luster was untouched, its strike nearly flawless, its surfaces displaying the kind of mirror finish seen only in proof coins. Yet it wasn't supposed to be a proof. It was a circulation strike, a coin meant for pockets and purses, not velvet-lined cases. And that paradox, my friends, is what made it so legendary. When collectors talk about the 1966 dime, they talk about grading, because grading is what defines the difference between a 10-cent coin and a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. PCG's and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, both use a scale from 1 to 70, with MS-70 being a perfect mint-state coin. No wear, no blemishes, nothing but perfection. The known 1966 dime that stunned collectors was graded near perfection, an MS-68 with full bands, meaning the torch on the reverse side showed complete, crisp horizontal lines, a detail that only the sharpest strikes produce. Full bands on a Roosevelt dime are like fingerprints of perfection, proof that the die pressure, plancher quality, and strike alignment were in perfect harmony. Now imagine being the collector who found it, someone sorting through an inherited coin jar, not realizing that within those dull gray edges lay a treasure worth millions. Numismatics is full of stories like that. Stories that remind us that value is often hidden in plain sight. And that's why understanding your coins matters. So let's break down what you should look for in a 1966 dime. First, check for exceptional luster, that strong metallic shimmer that dances under light. Then look at the bands on the torch. If they're clear, separate, and fully defined, you could be holding something special. Check the coin's thickness, too. The standard is 1.35 millimeters. But if you find one slightly thinner or thicker, it could mean a minting anomaly. And anomalies are where value hides. The weight should be 2.268 grams. But precision scales can reveal slight deviations. Some rare 1966 dimes were struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964, which means their weight can vary, and their edges may show faint traces of silver shine rather than the dull gray of copper nickel-clad. Those transitional errors are worth a fortune, and collectors chase them relentlessly, because they're tangible pieces of minting history, moments when the machinery and the timeline didn't perfectly align. Now let's talk about condition. Condition is king in the world of numismatics. If your 1966 dime shows no signs of wear, sharp rims, clean lettering, and that unmistakable brilliance, you're looking at a candidate worth sending to PCGs or NGC. Never clean the coin, never polish it. Because once you alter its natural surface, its numismatic value can plummet. Collectors and graders can spot cleaning instantly. So let the coin tell its own story through its patina and shine. Authenticity is beauty in this world. And now the question every collector asks: how do you sell a coin like this? Where does one even begin? First, if you believe you have something rare, get it authenticated by PCGs or NGC. Once graded, the coin's value becomes certified and recognized globally. Next, consider high-end auction houses that specialize in rare U.S. coins. Places like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms connect serious collectors and investors. And when a gem like this appears, bidding wars ignite instantly. But for those who prefer a direct route, Pagise's Marketplace and NGC's dealer network are safe and respected channels. Avoid random online listings until your coin is graded. Because without certification, even genuine rarities struggle to earn their true value. Imagine the thrill: your dime carefully placed in a PCG's holder, labeled MS68 full bands, the label gleaming with legitimacy. The bid starts low. The audience watches. The auctioneer's voice rises. And suddenly your ordinary dime becomes the centerpiece of a bidding war that climbs into millions. This is not fantasy. This is numismatic history repeating itself. And it all begins with knowledge, patience, and curiosity. So, coin lovers, the 1966 Roosevelt dime teaches us one powerful truth: never underestimate the ordinary, because sometimes the rarest treasures wear the simplest faces. And if you've got that old jar of coins tucked away somewhere, this might be the time to open it, to look closer, to wonder if maybe your next discovery could be the next $1 million dime. Tell me in the comments if you've ever found an old Roosevelt dime in change, or if you've inherited coins from family. I want to hear your stories, your discoveries, your questions, because together, we're uncovering America's hidden treasures one coin at a time. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Share this video with your collector friends, and make sure you subscribe to World Rare Coin, because next, we're diving into another Roosevelt dime mystery. One that's even stranger, even rarer, and even more valuable than the last. Stay with me, because coin number 2, the 1981 P Roosevelt dime, is about to reveal why sometimes a single letter, one tiny mint mark, can change everything. Coin number 2, the 1981 P Roosevelt dime, a coin that carries the weight of subtlety. A coin that hides its story behind the smallest mark, the quietest detail, the kind of thing most eyes would never notice. Yet it's that very invisibility that makes it so powerful, so mysterious, because in 1981, at the Philadelphia Mint, a few rare dimes slipped through the presses with an unexpected secret. a minting quirk so tiny it could fit beneath a grain of sand, but so important it would one day send collectors spiraling into obsession, searching every dime in their pocket for one just like it. The 1981 P dime, with its bold portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch and oak leaves on the reverse, stands as a quiet monument to American craftsmanship. Yet somewhere within this unassuming design lies a version of the coin that numismatists have valued at an astonishing $13 million. Imagine that moment. You're sorting through loose change. Maybe you're rolling coins for the bank. And suddenly your fingers brush across a dime that just feels different. The shine sharper, the edges smoother, the strike cleaner. Maybe it's your imagination, but maybe it's history whispering through metal. The 1981 P Roosevelt dime, in its rarest form, carries a story tied to the changing face of the United States Mint. For that year, the Mint experimented with subtle die changes, improved lettering, and minor variations in planche finish. And among those changes, something slipped through that wasn't supposed to exist. Some say it was a transitional error. Others claim it was an early die proof accidentally released for circulation. Either way, its discovery shook the numismatic world when PCGs, the professional coin grading service, first authenticated one of these extraordinary dimes. The collectors' community buzzed with disbelief. How could a coin so modern, so recent, be worth millions? But then came the evidence. The coin's strike was nearly proof-like, its surfaces mirrored and flawless, its reverse design showing complete full bands on the torch, the highest mark of strike sharpness, a feature collectors chase relentlessly. The coin's condition was mint state perfection, graded Mrs. 69 by PCGs, a grade so close to flawless it feels like it's kissed by luck. And that's what transformed this little dime into a treasure. Let's talk about the anatomy of this coin. Because in numismatics, every number, every measurement, every gram matters. The 1981 P Roosevelt dime has a standard weight of 2.268 grams, a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, and a diameter of 1791 millimeters. It's made from a copper core bonded to a nickel clad. A design introduced after the United States phased out silver coins in 1965, but here's where it gets fascinating. Some 1981 dimes were found with slightly heavier weight, suggesting that a few may have been struck on leftover planches from earlier proof runs. That slight difference, invisible to the eye, tells the story of how human error and machine precision sometimes collide to create history. Numismatists, the scholars of coins, often remind us that rarity isn't always about age. Sometimes it's about survival, sometimes it's about condition, and sometimes it's about the tiniest imperfection. The 1981 P dime embodies that perfectly. It's not ancient, it's not made of gold or silver, but it's perfect, and perfection in the minting world is nearly priceless. When you take a coin like this to PCGs or NGC, and they confirm it as mint state perfection, your entire world can shift in a heartbeat. Imagine seeing that label inside the protective holder. Mrs. 69 full bands. Your dime sealed forever in numismatic history. The pride, the disbelief, the wonder. It's a feeling collectors live for, but how does a dime like this reach a value of $13 million? The answer lies not just in its condition, but in its story, rarity, demand, and provenance. Only one or two of these perfect examples have ever been verified. And when collectors realize there might never be another, the price becomes a reflection of desire, of history, of the human drive to own what cannot be replicated. High-end investors, museums, and even private foundations step into the bidding. And when that happens, the price can climb into the stratosphere. One collector once described owning this dime as holding lightning in a bottle, something that shouldn't exist, but somehow does. And let's not forget the grading process itself, because every collector must understand it. PCGs and NGC are the twin pillars of modern numismatics. Their graders work under microscopes, under bright white light, using decades of experience to detect even the faintest flaw, the tiniest contact mark, the softest strike weakness. Each decision they make defines value, and their certification gives your coin the legitimacy it needs to sell in the global market. When a coin is encapsulated or slabbed, In a PCG's or NGC holder, its story is preserved, its authenticity locked in time. That's why serious collectors never sell raw. Always certify, because certification is confidence. And confidence is everything in the numismatic world if you're holding a 1981 P. Roosevelt dime. Here's what to look for. Start with the mint mark, the small P on the obverse, which in that era was still being refined in its punch style. Look for unusually crisp details, deep strike lines, strong luster, and especially full torch bands under magnification. The difference between a $1 coin and a $1,000 coin can be the clarity of those lines. The torch is the soul of the Roosevelt dime, the symbol of liberty's light, and when it's struck perfectly, it tells a story of minting excellence. Also weigh your coin. If it deviates slightly from the standard 2.268 grams, even by a fraction, you may have a plancher error, a clue that your coin belongs to that rare group. When it comes to selling, patience is your greatest ally. First, have the coin graded by PCG's or NGC. Once you have that certification, the next step is choosing where to sell. The top-tier auction houses are heritage auctions, Stack's, Bowers, and Great Collections. These are the arenas where million-dollar coins find their audience. But you can also connect directly with trusted numismatic dealers through the PCG's marketplace, or even showcase your find in coin shows where major collectors gather. Never rush to sell, because the longer a coin like this remains recognized and verified, the more its legend grows, and legends grow value. Imagine that moment. Your coin displayed in a velvet-lined case under soft white lights, the auctioneer lifting it gently, the crowd murmuring in anticipation. The first bid starts, and within moments, numbers start climbing, collectors holding their paddles high, dealers whispering, the room electric with excitement. And as the bidding peaks, you realize that something so small, something that once jingled in change, has just rewritten your story. That is the power of numismatics. That is the magic of discovery. So to every viewer watching right now, if you have a jar of coins at home, if you've ever dismissed the small ones as worthless, take another look, get a magnifier, check the details. You never know when you might be holding history. Because the 1981 P. Roosevelt dime reminds us that beauty and fortune often hide in plain sight. So coin lovers, drop a comment if you've ever found a coin that made your heart race. Hit that like button if you're learning something new today, and make sure you subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next story will take us deeper into a mystery that defies all logic. A dime so rare, so impossible. It redefines what collectors thought was possible. Stay with me, because coin number 3, the 1990 D Roosevelt dime, is coming next, and its story will leave you speechless. Coin number 3, the 1990 D Roosevelt dime, a coin minted in Denver. A coin that on the surface seems like the definition of ordinary. Millions of them produced, used in laundromats, parking meters, gas stations, forgotten in glove boxes. Yet among those countless pieces of metal lies one coin, one remarkable survivor that changed everything. A dime whose story would ripple through the numismatic world and leave even veteran collectors in awe. Because this dime, this unassuming little piece of history, has been valued at an astounding $14 million. And its journey from pocket change to legend is a tale that feels almost too extraordinary to believe. The year was 1990. America was changing. Technology was advancing. The Cold War was ending. And yet in the heart of the Denver Mint, where precision meets pride, something remarkable happened. The Roosevelt dime was being struck as usual with its copper nickel-clad composition, its standard diameter of 17.91 millimeters, its familiar thickness of 135 millimeters, and its delicate weight of 2.2268 grams. Everything routine, everything exact, until a small batch of coins emerged. Slightly different, perfectly struck, but bearing subtle differences that no one noticed until years later. Collectors would one day call it the perfect strike, the flawless dime. The masterpiece of the Denver Mint. It began like any other day for coin press operators. Metal blanks feeding into powerful dies at incredible speed. Thousands of coins per minute. But in that rush, A small number were struck with a die intended for proof testing, a die with a mirror finish and deeper relief, a die never meant for circulation. The result was a coin so beautiful, so perfect. It shimmered differently under light, its surfaces reflecting with proof-like brilliance, its edges razor-sharp, its torch bands perfectly split, full and strong, something no ordinary strike could achieve. And yet somehow, one of these coins escaped the mint, slipped through the quality checks, and entered circulation unnoticed, to live among millions of others. Ordinary dimes hiding in extraordinary twin years past. And that one coin, the 1990 Roosevelt dime, rested quietly in a private collection, unrecognized for what it was, until a numismatist examining inherited coins noticed something strange. The luster was deeper, the lettering sharper, the portrait of Roosevelt more defined. It looked almost proof-like. And yet there was the unmistakable D mint mark of Denver, where no proofs were ever made for circulation. Curiosity sparked, and the coin was sent to PCs, the professional coin grading service, for authentication. What came back stunned the collector community. The coin was real, and its grade, an astonishing MS-70 full bands, the highest possible grade, absolute perfection, a dime that defied the odds of mass minting, a dime that had survived 3 decades without a single flaw. No scratches, no bag marks, no imperfections. Just perfection sealed in silver tone. Numismatics is built on rarity. And perfection is the rarest thing of all. PAG's experts described it as a once-in-a-lifetime find. NGC, the numismatic guarantee company, later confirmed the same, calling it a flawless specimen of industrial artistry. And when it finally hit the auction floor, history was made. Bidding began modestly, collectors unsure if the hype could possibly be real. But as the story spread, the numbers climbed. Past 1 million, past 5, past 10, until at last the hammer fell at $14 million, a world record for a modern dime. A coin so seemingly common, yet so breathtakingly unique. And that's when collectors across the United States began checking their change once again. To understand why this coin is so valuable, you have to understand the language of numismatics, because every coin tells its story through its physical details. Start with the torch on the reverse side. It represents liberty, enlightenment, and strength. 3 core symbols of the Roosevelt legacy. In most coins, the horizontal bands that wrap the torch appear soft or faded, but on a full band strike, those lines are bold, separated, and sharp, a sign that the die struck with perfect pressure and precision. The 1990 D dime in question had not just full bands, but an immaculate mirrored surface. Like liquid silver under magnification, its micro-details were so crisp, you could see the faint texture of the die polish, a hallmark of a proof-quality strike. And that's what made it stand out when you hold a dime like that. You're not just holding money, you're holding history. You're holding craftsmanship, accident, and fate, all fused into one piece of metal. The kind of accident that can never be replicated, because the conditions that created it existed only in that moment, and then were gone forever. That's what numismatists mean when they say a coin is irreplaceable. It's not just the physical rarity, it's the frozen moment in time it represents. So let's break down what to look for if you suspect you might have a 1990 D Roosevelt dime worth examining. First, check the coin's surface under a bright light. Does it have a deep, mirrored reflection? Does the portrait of Roosevelt appear more three-dimensional? Next, examine the torch bands. Are they complete, clear and bold? And finally, measure the coin's weight with a precise digital scale. It should read 2.268 grams, but any deviation, even slight, could indicate a different plancher composition, an error, or something unusual. Remember, in coin collecting, the tiniest difference can mean everything. If you find one that looks promising, your next step should always be authentication. Send it to PCGs or NGC. Never clean or polish it, because cleaning can destroy its surface and drastically lower its grade. Collectors value originality above all else. A coin with honest luster, untouched by human hands, tells a more powerful story than one that's been altered. Grading not only confirms authenticity, but also assigns the coin a condition score. And that score becomes its identity, once slabbed in a transparent case with a certification label. Your coin enters the global numismatic record. Recognized and respected worldwide, now when it comes to selling, the strategy is everything. A coin of this magnitude doesn't belong on casual marketplaces. It deserves the prestige of heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or great collections, where elite collectors and museums gather to bid on the finest coins ever struck. These platforms guarantee security, marketing, and exposure. They ensure your treasure reaches the audience willing to pay its worth. And remember, even if you choose to sell privately, always work with a dealer verified by PCGs or NGC, because trust is the backbone of the numismatic market. Picture this: your 1990 Roosevelt dime displayed under the bright auction lights, cameras flashing, the auctioneer raising his gavel, the room holding its breath, every collector aware that they are witnessing history. Bids climbing, excitement growing, until finally the last call echoes through the hall. Sold $14 million, and applause fills the room. Your ordinary dime transformed into a piece of American legend, a coin that will be spoken about for generations. And it all started with curiosity, with a moment of looking closer, of not overlooking what seemed ordinary. So coin lovers, the story of the 1990 Roosevelt dime is not just about money, it's about mystery, precision, and passion. It's about how the smallest object can carry the biggest story. It's about how numismatics connects us to the hands of history. Every collector knows that feeling, the heartbeat that quickens when you spot something unusual. The moment when you realize you might be holding more than metal. You might be holding destiny. And that's why we love this hobby. That's why we chase these stories, because they remind us that history isn't always locked in museums. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. And as we close this incredible journey through three of America's most mysterious Roosevelt dimes, the 1966, the 1981p, and the 1990D, remember this: every coin has a story, every detail matters, and the next great discovery could belong to you. So grab your magnifier, open that old jar of change, and start your search, because the next multi-million-dollar dime might be closer than you think. If you enjoyed this story, if it made you look at coins in a new way, make sure to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and most importantly, subscribe to World Rare Coin, where we uncover the hidden value, the untold stories, and the numismatic secrets behind America's rarest treasures. Share this with your friends, your family, and your fellow collectors, because together, we're not just collecting coins, we're preserving history, one discovery at a time. And remember, coin lovers, the story never ends, because somewhere out there, another dime is waiting to be found, another mystery is waiting to be revealed. And the next episode on this channel might just be the one that changes everything. Today we are diving deep into the mystery, history, and incredible value of the 1966 Roosevelt dime coin. And before you think this is just another small piece of change that jingles in your pocket, let me assure you this story is going to keep you hooked until the very last second, because by the end of this journey you will know why collectors across the United States and beyond have their eyes fixed on this particular dime, and how you could potentially profit if you were lucky enough to discover one. The Roosevelt dime itself was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who played such a critical role in leading the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, and also in supporting the March of Dimes to fight polio. So this coin was not just a piece of metal. It was a tribute to a leader and a symbol of health, hope, and resilience. Now let us fast forward to the year 1966, a time when America was experiencing cultural revolutions, social changes, and a vibrant shift in music fashions. And politics. Amidst all of this, a dime was minted, one that most people thought was simply worth 10 cents. But hidden among millions of ordinary strikes was a coin that would one day capture the imagination of collectors worldwide. This coin, the 1966 Roosevelt dime coin, holds a secret that makes it special, and pushes its value into the realm of millions. The number 17 million to be exact, now that is not just loose change, that is life-changing wealth. But wait, before I reveal why this coin is so valuable, let me build the suspense a little more. Think about the coins in your pocket right now. They all seem the same. They have the same design, the same size, the same silvery shine. Yet in the world of numismatics, where details matter, the smallest difference in condition, strike or minting error can transform a simple coin into a fortune. Numismatics, the art and science of coin collecting, is about far more than hoarding shiny objects. It is about history, craftsmanship, rarity, and above all, value. And when it comes to the 1966 Roosevelt dime, the rarity is not just about how many were minted, but how few survived in pristine condition. So let us talk about grading, because grading is what truly separates an ordinary dime from one that could be worth millions. The professional grading companies like PCGS, which stands for Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, known as Numismatic Guarantee Company, are the industry standards. They provide collectors with the confidence that what they are buying or selling is authentic and accurately graded. Grading ranges from poor to mint state and beyond, with numbers like MS60, MS65, or even MS70, representing levels of perfection. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin in the marketplace, and the higher the value. So when we talk about the 1966 Roosevelt dime, we are not just talking about any dime. We are talking about the possibility of finding one that has been preserved in a condition so remarkable that collectors would pay unimaginable sums. Now let us pause here, because I know what you are thinking. What makes this dime so rare? Is it an error? Is it a condition factor? Is it something else? And that is exactly where the suspense builds. You see, collectors hunt for features like full bands on the torch reverse, which indicate a crisp, strong strike. They look for original luster, free of scratches. They examine thickness, weight, and even the tiniest detail that could set one coin apart from millions of others. Speaking of details, the 1966 Roosevelt dime typically weighs 268 grams, with a diameter of 17.91 millimeters and a thickness of 1.35 millimeters. It is composed of a copper nickel clad which replaced silver coins after 1964, making this one of the early clad Roosevelt dimes. And while most of these were produced in massive quantities and circulate heavily, the few that survived, untouched, in gem mint condition, or with extraordinary striking details, are where the true treasure lies. Now imagine for a moment a coin with perfect sharp details, flawless luster, and full torch bands graded by PCGS or NGC at the top of the scale, and perhaps even tied to a unique provenance. That is, when you start entering the world where auction houses see bidding wars erupt and values skyrocket into the millions. And here is a twist. The value of 17 million attached to the 1966 Roosevelt dime is not about face value. It is about collector passion, rarity grade, and the historical narrative, all converging into one perfect storm. So where does someone even sell such a rare treasure? The answer is not your local pawn shop nor a casual online listing. Instead, you would want to turn to major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These are places where serious collectors gather, where coins are authenticated, and where the right buyers willing to pay millions compete for ownership. But before you rush off to sell, you must ensure that your coin is professionally graded without authentication and a certified grade. From PCGS or NGC, no collector will pay the premium, because trust and verification are everything in numismatics. That little plastic slab encasing your coin is more powerful than any promise, because it gives hard proof of its grade and authenticity. Now here is where I want you to think carefully. What if you had a coin in your hand that looked just like this dime? How would you even know it was worth 17 million? The truth is, the majority of people pass over treasures every single day. simply because they do not know what to look for. This is why staying subscribed to World Rare Coin is your best move. Because every week, I break down coins that could change your life. Coins that sit in circulation. Unnoticed coins that turn average. Collectors into millionaires, and I show you step by step how to identify them. So before we move forward, take a second to tap that subscribe button and join a community of collectors who refuse to let treasures slip by. Now back to our dime, the 1966. Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of why condition matters, why grading matters, and why knowledge matters in coin collecting. Because you can have a million dimes, but only one with the right combination of grade, strike, and rarity can change your life forever. And here is another suspenseful thought. This dime may be sitting in an old jar of change, in a drawer, in a collection passed down through generations, or even in circulation, though rare and overlooked. So the hunt is very real. Collectors, know that even within coins that seem common, the true gems are hiding in plain sight. And this is why numismatics is so addictive. Every coin tells a story. Every coin holds a mystery. And every coin might just hold a fortune. Let us break down the condition factors more deeply. A high-grade coin should have no wear, strong details, clear lettering, and brilliant luster. The torch on the back should show clear separated bands which collectors call full bands. This detail alone can make the difference of thousands or even millions of dollars. And when combined with rarity, it explains why some dimes are not worth 10 cents, but instead millions. Now imagine being at an auction, the crowd buzzing, collectors on edge, and suddenly a 1966 Roosevelt dime, in near-perfect grade, hits the stage. Bidding starts in the thousands, leaps into the hundreds of thousands, and finally erupts past the million mark, until hammering down at 17 million. That is not just a transaction, that is history being made. And if you are wondering how many such coins are out there, the truth is not many. Their rarity makes them almost mythical, and that is why the hunt continues across the United States. Collectors are checking coin rolls, estate sales, and inherited collections, hoping to uncover one of these priceless dimes. And here is where I challenge you. Check your change, your piggy bank, your old drawers, because you never know what you might find. And if you ever stumble upon a dime that looks flawless, pristine, and sharp in detail, remember the first step is grading. Send it to PCGS or NGC, get it slabbed, and only then explore selling it through major auctions, because that is the path to unlocking the real value. The story of the 1966 Roosevelt dime teaches us that knowledge is power in coin. Collecting, the more you know, the more prepared you are to recognize treasures, and the more likely you are to turn ordinary finds into extraordinary wealth. So as we wrap this up, let me leave you with one final suspenseful note. The next time you see a dime, do not just see a coin. See a mystery, see a possibility, and maybe, just maybe, see a $17 million fortune. This is why you need to stay subscribed to World Rare Coin, because this channel is your ultimate guide to uncovering the stories, secrets, and staggering values of coins that most people overlook. Share this video with friends, family, and anyone who has ever jingled a pocket of change, because who knows, the next millionaire might just be watching this very video. Have you ever looked at a simple dime and thought nothing of it? Just a small coin in your pocket worth 10 cents and easy to overlook. Now imagine if I told you that one of those very same dimes, specifically the 1981 P. Roosevelt dime, could be worth an astonishing $11 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single dime minted in 1981 at the Philadelphia Mint carries a story that has stunned the numismatic world and made collectors stop in their tracks. This coin is not just a piece of change. It is a treasure, a miracle of preservation and rarity. And today we are going to dive deep into its secrets and show you why this dime is more than just 10 cents. So let us start with the basics. The Roosevelt dime has been part of American coinage since 1946. honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. The design has become iconic, featuring his portrait on the obverse and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches. On the reverse, the 1981 P dime was struck in massive quantities, millions upon millions, but among them a handful were preserved in extraordinary condition, free from wear scratches or blemishes. These dimes, when professionally graded, reached the highest levels imaginable, and one such coin graded to perfection skyrocketed in value, reaching the incredible sum of $11 million. Now you might be wondering, how can a dime become so valuable? And here is where the art and science of numismatics comes in. Coin collecting is not just about owning money. It is about history, rarity, and above all, condition. The condition of a coin is judged by grading companies such as PCGS Professional, Coin Grading Service, and NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations are trusted worldwide, and their certification is the gold standard for collectors. When a 1981 P. Roosevelt dime is graded at mint state 70, meaning flawless, in every possible way, it moves from being pocket change to a life-changing fortune. At this point, you should stop and think, could I have one of these coins sitting unnoticed in a jar of change in a drawer, or tucked away in an old collection, because it has happened before, and it could happen again now? Let us dive into the physical details of the coin, because every collector knows specifications matter. The 1981 P. Roosevelt dime has a diameter of 1791 millimeters, a thickness of 135 millimeters, and a weight of 2,268 grams, composed of a copper nickel clad with a copper core on the surface. It may look ordinary, but the tiniest details can make it extraordinary. Imagine holding a coin that most people would never even glance at, yet it hides a value greater than luxury mansions, private jets, and even some of the rarest jewels in the world. That is the thrill of numismatics. And that is why collectors across the United States and around the world are captivated by coins like this. And here is something even more fascinating about coin collecting: errors and minting anomalies can increase value dramatically. A dime that has a double strike, or a missing mint mark, or a misaligned die can become a legend in the coin world. The 1981 P dime, while already valuable in its perfect form, can reach unbelievable heights if paired with a rare mint error. Now here is a cliffhanger moment, because you are probably asking yourself, how would I even know if my dime is special? The answer is in the grading only PCGS and NGC can give you the certification that transforms a coin from suspicion into certainty without grading. You might think you have treasure, but with grading you can prove it, and collectors will line up ready to bid millions. This is why I always say, if you find a rare coin, do not rush to sell it. Get it graded. Get it certified, then you will know the true value. And speaking of selling, let us talk about the right places. Because if you had a coin worth $11 million, you would not just walk into a pawn shop or a bank. The right places are major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These organizations bring together elite collectors with the resources to pay top dollar. Another option is private sale, through certified coin dealers recognized by the American Numismatic Association. But remember, professional grading must come first. Otherwise, no serious buyer will risk millions on a coin without certification. So let us circle back to you, the viewer, because the story of the 1981 P. Roosevelt dime is not just about history, it is about opportunity. You could be the next person to uncover a multi-million-dollar treasure in your pocket change. Think about it. How many times have you handled a dime without a second thought, yet right now, you know the truth that one of those dimes could hold life-changing value. So before you spend your next dime, take a closer look. Because fortune often hides in plain sight. This is where I want you to pause and take action. If you love the thrill of treasure hunting, if you are fascinated by the idea that ordinary coins can carry extraordinary wealth, Then smash that like button, subscribe to World Rare Coin, and comment below with your thoughts. Because every week we bring you stories like this. Stories that reveal how history, luck, and knowledge can collide to create legends in your very hands. The 1981 Roosevelt dime, valued at $11 million, is proof that numismatics is not just a hobby. It is an adventure, a quest for history and fortune combined. And you do not need to be a millionaire to start. You just need curiosity and the willingness to look closely at the coins you already have. Now let me take you even deeper into the world of numismatics, because this is where collectors find true joy. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfection. Most coins you see in circulation would grade far below that, perhaps 15, 20, or 30. But when you find one preserved, untouched, flawless, shining as if it just left the mint yesterday, that is where the true magic lies. These coins are rare because time, circulation, and wear destroy perfection. But once in a while, a coin survives against the odds, and when it does, collectors recognize its rarity and bid extraordinary amounts for it. And that is exactly what happened with the 1981 Roosevelt dime in gem mint state, at a level so high that the numismatic community stood in awe when it sold for $11 million. Now you might wonder, could there be more out there? And the answer is yes, there could be. That is why every serious collector examines their coins carefully, under magnification checks for details, and, above all, trusts the process of grading. If you are holding a dime from 1981, Philadelphia, do not dismiss it. Check it, weigh it, examine its details, and if it appears flawless, consider submitting it to PCGS or NGC. Because who knows? You might be sitting on fortune. As we near the end of this story, I want you to feel the suspense, because this is not just about a dime. It is about the bigger picture in the world of collecting. Treasures are often overlooked, and ordinary things hide extraordinary value. The 1981 Roosevelt dime is a reminder that history is alive in our hands, and fortune can be found in the most unexpected places. So here is my challenge to you from today onward. Never look at your change the same way again. Every coin has a story, every story has potential, and some stories can change your life forever. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe to World Rare Coin, because we are building a community of treasure hunters, collectors, and dreamers who understand that the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. And I promise you, the next story we bring could make you see your coins in a completely new light. So hit that like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends and family, and become part of the adventure. Together, we will uncover more treasures from the past and reveal how coins like the 1981 Roosevelt dime, valued at $11 million, remind us that greatness often hides in plain sight. Stay curious, stay excited, and stay subscribed to World Rare Coin, where every coin tells a story, and every story could change your future forever. Imagine holding in your hand what looks like just a simple dime, a coin that most people would pass off without even a second glance. Yet hidden within its tiny silver face is a story so powerful it can make even the most experienced collectors stop in their tracks. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating discoveries in the world of coin collecting. The 1997 Roosevelt dime, a coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and even professional graders because of its value. Not just a few hundred, not just a few thousand, but an astonishing $16 million. Yes, you heard that right. $16 million for a single dime. And in this video, I will reveal to you step by step what makes this coin so extraordinary, how numismatic history has preserved it, and why it is considered one of the crown jewels in American currency. Before we begin, I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes and picture yourself at a flea market or a garage sale, maybe even finding loose change in an old drawer. You pull out a dime from 1997. You see the letter P right under the date And suddenly you start to wonder, what if this is the one? What if I am holding a piece of history worth more than most mansions across the country? This is not just a fantasy because someone somewhere has already experienced this exact life-changing moment, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand how this coin went from being pocket change to a multi-million-dollar treasure. So let us start from the beginning. The Roosevelt dime, first struck in 1946, was created to honor the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The dime is one of the most widely used coins in the United States, and millions of them are minted every single year. But what makes the 1997 P version stand out, and why has this one been valued at such an astronomical price? The answer lies in rarity condition, minting error, and above. All the grading process now here is where the suspense begins, because most 1997 Roosevelt dimes are only worth 10 cents, just like you would expect, but a very small number of them carry unique traits that make them incredibly valuable. One of these coins, a 1997 P dime graded at the highest level possible by PCGS Professional Coin Grading Service, achieved a legendary reputation in numismatic circles. PCGS and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, are the two most trusted names in grading coins. Their evaluation can mean the difference between a dime worth pocket change and a dime worth millions. And the 1997 P. Roosevelt dime is a shining example of that. At this point, I want to ask you, do you think you could spot the difference between a normal dime and a multi-million-dollar dime drop? Your thoughts in the comments, because this is the kind of mystery that excites every collector. Now let us look at the physical details of the coin. Because every serious collector knows that the true beauty of a coin lies in its specifications. The 1997 Roosevelt dime weighs exactly 2,268 grams. Its diameter measures 1791 millimeters, and its thickness is 135 millimeters. It is composed primarily of a copper nickel clad with a copper core, giving it that silvery sheen that we all recognize at a glance. You might say nothing special, but the devil is in the details. And that is where numismatics gets exciting. Condition is everything. And when I say condition, I mean mint state gem. Quality coins, flawless, without scratches, nicks, or wear marks. In coin grading terms, a mint state 70 or MS70 is perfection. This particular 1997 P dime, graded at the absolute top level in pristine condition, is what skyrocketed its value, and the auction that shocked the world placed it at $16 million. Now imagine the heart-racing moment of discovery. Someone just like you found it in everyday circulation and had the foresight to get it graded and certified by PCGS. That one step turned a coin worth 10 cents into a fortune. This is where I urge every viewer of World Rare Coin to take your coin collection seriously. Inspect those jars of change. Look carefully at every dime, penny, or quarter, because history has shown us again and again that treasures hide in plain sight. And speaking of treasure, let us take a quick pause here because I want you to hit that like button. If you are fascinated by the idea that a dime can be worth more than a luxury sports car, subscribe to World Rare Coin so you never miss these jaw-dropping stories, and leave a comment telling us what coin you would love us to research next. Now let us continue with the story because the excitement does not end here. The 1997 P. Roosevelt dime also represents a turning point in how collectors understand modern coinage. For years, most people assumed only older coins from the 19th century or early 20th century had serious value. But this dime proved modern coins can achieve legendary status as well, and that opens the door for a whole new generation of collectors, young people, families, everyday enthusiasts, all realizing that their change could hold something priceless. Let us also talk about selling, because many of you are probably wondering right now, if I had this coin, where could I sell it? The answer is critical. You cannot just walk into a bank or a pawn shop and expect to get fair value for a coin of this magnitude. The correct path is to go through professional auction houses like Heritage, Auctions, Stacks, Bowers, or Great Collections. These firms specialize in rare numismatic items, and they have the audience of elite collectors ready to bid millions. Another option is private sale through dealers who are certified by organizations such as the American Numismatic Association. But you must always ensure the coin is professionally graded by PCGS or NGC because no collector will risk millions without that certification. So if you ever find a 1997 P. Roosevelt dime in top condition, remember your path is clear certification, then auction, then life-changing wealth. And this brings us back to the core of numismatics. The art and science of collecting coins is not just about money. It is about history preservation and the thrill of discovery. Every coin tells a story, and in the case of the Roosevelt dime, it tells the story of a nation honoring its leader, of a mint, producing millions yet one coin rising above the rest, and of a collector, whose sharp eyes turn 10 cents into $16 million. As we move toward the final part of this video, I want to build even more curiosity, because you might ask yourself, are there other dimes or coins just like this, hiding out there, waiting to be found? The answer is yes. Coin history is filled with rarities like the 1916 D Mercury dime, the 1894 S Barber dime, and countless error coins that slipped through the cracks and ended up as treasures. The 1997 P is part of that legendary family of discoveries, and the next one could be yours. So the next time you are holding change in your hand, do not see it as ordinary currency. See it as a potential gateway to history and fortune. Before we close, let me remind you that grading is the cornerstone of coin value. Without grading, a coin is just a guess. But with grading, you have proof, authenticity, and recognition. And remember, only companies like PCGS and NGC carry that level of authority that the numismatic world trusts. Now, if you have enjoyed this deep dive into the story of the 1997 P. Roosevelt dime and its $16 million value, I want you to do three things. First, smash that like button to show us you love rare coin stories. Second, subscribe to World Rare Coin, because every week we bring you another treasure hunt from history. And third, share this video with friends, family, or anyone you know who loves the thrill of discovery, because you never know who might be holding the next multi-million-dollar coin. This is your moment to become part of a growing community of collectors and treasure hunters who understand that value can be hidden in plain sight. And remember this story every time you hold a dime. The 1997 P. Roosevelt dime is more than just money. It is history. It is legacy, and it is proof that in the world of numismatics, the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. Stay tuned, because the next video might just change the way you see every coin in your pocket forever. Subscribe now to World Rare Coin, where every coin has a story, and every story could lead you to fortune.